host of Catholic Answers Live. I'm probably the host of this show too, although we've never actually negotiated any kind of contract or anything. I don't know if I'm the host of this show. We'll find out if either of these two takes over. In the studio with me, Jeff Anderson.
Hello,
Mr. Anderson. I'm glad you're here.
There it is. Thank you.
There it is.
Thanks for having me.
And then somewhere else on the planet Earth, Erica Talley. Hi, Erica.
Hello. How are you?
Really good. Really good. I'm glad you're here to do the program with us, Erica.
Me too. Thank you.
I don't want to make you feel awkward, but last time we got some sound effects, and we were like, "That's pretty good
stuff." Yeah, that's
and then we were
a norm, I think.
We were telling Jeff about it today. He's like, "No, he didn't watch that show, or you weren't here for that show." So there better be some sound effects today.
Okay,
Erica.
All right, will do.
So let's talk about the news of the day. You guys ready to talk about the news of the day?
Absolutely.
So ready.
I guess I am the host then. Everybody's following me. I was trying to find out, am I the host of this show? I feel like I might be. I feel like I might be the host.
Yeah.
I think you are.
I was reading in our OSV. I thought, well, thank you. I was reading in OSV News. It used to be Our Sunday Visitor, but I think they just call it OSV News now. And they do a good job. I like OSV News. I think they do a nice job of reporting. And they had a thing on Pope Leo meeting with the priests of Rome. And, you know, you two probably already know this, but he's the Bishop of Rome. So he's meeting with them.
What's his name again?
What's his what?
What's his name again?
Leo?
Papa?
Oh, the Pope. Yeah, the Papa. Yeah, he's the Papa of the whole church, but he's the Bishop of Rome. And so there's all these Roman priests, and you know they have their regular meetings, and he's meeting with the priests. And OSV did a very nice report on this, just very thorough. And so he gives his little talk, and then they ask their questions. I don't know why I said little talk. I'm not trying to demean the Pope. I don't know why.
They did such a good
You
job.
guys
It was
have
so
your little
cute.
side convo.
He did a nice little job on his little bishopric that he's got there. I don't know why that came out like that, but one of his messages, and I wanted to run this by the two of you, was to priests was don't use AI to write your homilies. Well, I'll start with you, Erica. Since I'm the host, apparently I'm the host of this thing. Would you use AI to write your homilies?
No, I think what he said is a total Catholic dub. So, as the kids would say.
Wait, I'm looking at Jeff to see if he knows. Do you know what a dub is?
I know what a dub is.
It's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A win.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
No, I would totally agree. Also, if you need help writing homilies, Catholic Answers has your back for that. So, in fact, I just scheduled that out. Every Thursday, we send out a homily that's written by Father Keys. So, if you're interested. But no, I totally agree. You should be utilizing your brain. I mean, these machines can regurgitate, they can regenerate, if you will, but they can't create. Especially when it comes to the spiritual things. I think that's very strange territory to get into. Dangerous, I would say. I think it's spiritually dangerous territory to get into, to have a machine generate your homilies on the Gospels. I mean, this is scripture we're talking about. This isn't just like PTA meeting reflections. So
yeah, I see what you're saying. I was gonna bust in and go, and surprise, Erica is an AI, not a real human being.
I am a chatbot.
She's a bot. That's why she's not in the studio here with us. All right, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, and I agree with Erica. Probably not surprisingly, but I'll just give a couple of different reasons. One, when I was in the Navy, maybe 10 years ago, I'd go to Mass, sometimes on my lunch break, and we had a retired Capuchin priest there, and he was going through a bunch of the old homilies of the St. John Vianney and reading those for his homilies, which I think is fantastic. There's a treasury of good homilies written by holy priests.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a difference there, because when that homily was written, or when a priest writes any homily, they're taking their knowledge of Scripture, their knowledge of the Scripture readings, their knowledge of church teachings, and then their own personal experience and the experience of the congregation that they're serving, and they're kind of synthesizing all of those together.
Yeah.
And could you put all those into a prompt and have ChatGPT or something figure that out? sure, but it's going to miss the human portion of it. It's the incarnational portion of it that I think is really important to bring in.
Okay, now I think it's interesting that both of you focused on this, which Leo did focus on, but it wasn't the first thing he said. Well, he did say, to give a true homily is to share faith, and the artificial intelligence, he went on to say, will never be able to share faith. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's his quote, but that's not his only thing that he said. He said to the priests, like all muscles in the body, if we do not use them, if we do not move them, they die. The brain needs to be used. So our intelligence must also be exercised a little so as not to lose this capacity. He's not just worried about the flock. He's worried about the priest becoming a dope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Anything, I mean, yeah, your brain can atrophy. It's true. Like, I think even just students using ChatGPT to write their papers for school, I mean, half of them can't even, I would say even more than half, can't even come up with an intro hook, like an introduction sentence. So it's really important to keep those muscles, if you will, the muscle memory, your brain sharp. And the way to do that is to kind of be bored and be left with zero ideas, if you will.
Yeah. I like that be bored part. The development of the soul, the mind, the brain, it cannot be done without some desolation, some emptiness, some struggle. I mean, those don't have to be the whole of it, and they're not the whole of it. But if you're avoiding those things, you are damaging yourself. Whatever you're doing to anybody else, you're definitely damaging yourself.
Yeah, and it's what does the priest do? What's his job? What's his role as a priest? And it's to pray the mass for us, right? And so he could maybe like spend 15 minutes fewer in preparation for it and have more time for other things. But I don't want my priest super, has everything tied down and maximalized. I want him to be able to quote unquote spend that time, maybe wasted even in prayer and preparation, desolation, whatever it has to be to write that.
This, however, when you say it that way, it brings up this thing that I'm on a. Is it called being on a hobby horse? What's it called when you're like obsessed with something? I'm on a hobby horse about this, or
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They call it an era. I shouldn't even say that. It's so embarrassing. An era.
Oh, my era! I'm in an. Yes,
So
this
awful.
is my era.
Stupid.
I'm in my parish reform era, and that is.
Let's go side.
Yes. Well, thank you. I got a little bit. See, you could work up a little enthusiasm, some sound effects. Look at what Erica brings to the table, man.
I can't bring the cool verbiage. That's fantastic.
I'm in my parish reform era, and when I hear you say what you said, I think these popes. This is how I'm feeling right now. These popes. I mean, since John the 23rd, we've had these popes who keep doing big things and big ideas and big councils and big letters and all. And the church happens in the parish. And if we could get the whole church, the entire thing, focused on bringing the parish back to life, then all these big councils and big ideas and all this stuff we've been doing since 1963, it could actually churn, could do some stuff. And so I think when I hear you say that, well, the priest, should waste some time. And we're wasting our priests. We're wasting our priests balancing the books or running the parish, or that model of the parish is just done. It doesn't work anymore. I need some popes here. I need some papal energy to get clearer about what should be happening in the parish, what the priest does and what the priest doesn't do. So it's not just priests. I mean, I'm happy that Pope Leo says the things he says. He's fine. But it's not enough. I like what he says. It's not enough just to say to priests, don't use AI in your homilies.
Right.
Look, priest, turn most of the parish over to the laity. Just get rid of it. Turn it over to them. You're the overseer. You're the spiritual father. You're the one that all this stuff's got to be run through. I mean, I'm not saying that you're pointless, but why are you balancing the checkbook? Why are you making repairs to the church? Why are you running all the committees. There's people that are better than that than you at a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, our priest is
Priests
really
need
good
to be
about
priests, and it can't happen if you don't reform the parish.
that. Yeah, our priest is really
sure.
good at delegating out a lot of stuff to people. And the church gets more done because somebody's talent is balancing the books. Somebody's talent is groundskeeping.
Yeah.
Someone's talent is teaching
And there are
kids.
individual priests that can do it. And you can see, like, I travel a lot and go to parishes. You can see the parishes where you go, okay, something happened here because it's alive and they've got these, and the people are doing. And then there's a lot of parishes where you go, come on, what's going on? Let's go. There's no urgency here to make this something. So, yeah, I'm in my parish reform era. And I agree with you that priests should be, also, why are priests living alone in the rectory? I don't understand this anymore. Why are they living alone in the rectory? That's a terrible model of life.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and I know
And some dioceses it can work, or I really should say some parishes it can work, depending on which parish you're at. If you're at a flagship cathedral for the diocese, the life of the priest is probably going to look a bit different. He'll probably have more support and probably not be alone in the rectory. But yeah, I've been to parishes. I walk in Sunday mass attendance. This was in California, so maybe that was my first issue. Sorry. But, and it was, they had weeds growing in the front, and there were maybe 15 people in there for Sunday mass. It was depressing.
yeah,
It was depressing.
that's
So,
hard. And
that's another factor too, is just like,
Yeah.
are there enough people to even help? In some parishes, probably not. But yeah, I agree
No.
that it shouldn't be just like, here, let me give you some advice and not give you the tools to actually reach that goal.
And not say to priests, look, our model of parish isn't working. Let's work on a new model. Let's take the next 10 or 20 years as a church to just turn over the soil until we get this thing going. But we're burning these priests out. We're asking them to do things that they were not ordained to do. They have these charisms of ordination nobody else has got. And I don't know. I think that's I didn't mean to get in my era.
No, but when
I feel like you.
But when you point out how stretched out most priests are, you can see the temptation of, you know what? I'm just going to have ChatGPT write me a good homily.
I know.
Because I can check it for errors, right?
Right.
And then just move on.
Well, I have to say, my mom died last year, and twice I had to call the parish and go, over a period of months, twice. My mother's in the hospital. She's in crisis. It looks like she may not live the night. Can you go over and give last rites?
Mm-hmm.
These priests are like, they just go. They get in the car. They drive over to the hospital. They find your mom.
Yeah.
Which in a hospital is not always that easy. They find your mom, and they anoint her. And that's what a priest is for. And that's what they're good at, and that's what their charism is. And I feel like we're burning them out on all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah.
And and we're putting them in living situations that are very hard on them. But I'm not complaining about the priests. I don't even know how I got on my era. I'm so glad you said era.
Oh, what, Jeff?
No,
You
I was
gonna say
gonna. I have
something?
one last little thing is we've done so many cringe things over the last 40 years. Like, oh, we're gonna do this at mass. I don't need a priest like, come on in for my cool AI homily. Like, no, I don't want that. That sounds
With my
stupid.
3 adjectives to describe things at the end of each sentence.
What about have either of you ever known a true?
Did you just do clock it, Jeff?
I did, but did I do it right?
Yeah, you did do it right.
It's so funny.
I hate
we're
that.
both here
I hate
fight.
Gen Z.
We're trying to get your approval. Like,
Jeff
oh,
just did clock it.
she said era. I'll say era. What's clock it? Tell me what it is. So show me what it is, Erica.
I
Clock
don't
it.
want to explain it. I don't even. I think it just
No,
means
no.
like.
Don't
I
even.
saw that.
Oh,
I've never used it.
okay.
That was my first and probably only time using it.
First of all, how
It was
rude
so
of you to be
discreet.
like, someone asks you for help and you're like, I don't want to explain it. That's not a Christian attitude to your elders.
I'm so sorry.
That's
Not charitable
bratty.
of
That's a
me.
bratty attitude. Wait, is bratty bad? Is that worse now than when I was a kid? Sometimes you don't know as an old. I don't know if you're not that old, Darren, but like a word changes a little bit and you say
That's
it and people
true.
are like, oh my gosh, why'd you say that? And I'm like, I didn't.
I feel like it's the opposite with younger people. We say words that used to be really bad.
Oh, wait, you do?
and-
I'd have to think about that. I don't say them.
Well, growing up, I was never allowed to say sucked, like that sucked or that
Oh,
sucks.
yes, that's right. That's right.
Got in
That was
huge
really
trouble
bad,
for
like
that.
in the
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. As a matter of fact, to go back to speaking about my mother, she made me fall on the floor laughing one time as a child because I was probably in about junior high age. We're standing in the window. We're probably talking or something, and this kid comes skating on a skateboard around our corner. This was like probably the year skateboards came out. That's how old I am. He comes skating around the corner, does the rock stop, and just down the street like this. And I'm just standing there like, oh my gosh. And she goes, that sucked. And I was like, I can't believe my mother just said that. Like, and she knew she was going to do it too. She knew that was going to tear me up. And I was on the floor. Come on, Mom. You can't do that to me. Because it was a little bit like in the 70s. It was, you don't really say
So
that.
interesting.
But yeah, I don't know. Like when I said you were bratty, you looked like I said something really bad. I was like, uh-oh, does that mean something that I don't know?
Well, that was like the worst thing I could be called growing up.
Oh, really?
In my family, yeah.
Where do you come in the family?
I'm the third
Okay,
out of 4.
Out of 4? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you probably were a
Yes.
brat. I don't know.
And I was the most defiant. That's what they say.
And now you're the most
But look
holy.
where it got me, you know? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm
Where
the
is that?
CEO of a multi-million dollar company, so
I did want to raise one other thing about the priest with AI though, and that
Yes.
is, and this is where I was going before, and I got interrupted by myself. I think I interrupted him. No, it was because you did clock it, and then that messed me up.
Yeah.
Like I know some priests, and some of them are truly holy, beautiful priests who cannot preach. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just no good. I kind of think maybe they should use some AI. Throw a little AI in the mix.
what if they just have a ghostwriter
Well, yeah.
that's a person?
Yeah,
but-
they could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like maybe if they just sat down one day and they said to ChatGPT, my old friend, I'm a terrible preacher. I need you to help me. Here's what I was going to say on Sunday. What would you do to make this better? And ChatGPT would be honest, like that's one thing about ChatGPT. ChatGPT don't lie. Do you think well, okay. ChatGPT does.
It does lie.
Don't you even come for ChatGPT now, my best buddy. And I feel like the ChatGPT would be like,
This
well,
entire show was written by ChatGPT.
yeah, right.
I guess.
I feel like ChatGPT would be like, well, okay, I read your thing, and here's 5 different ways. Like, Father, don't say this. Like nobody wants to hear you say this, and I feel like maybe that would be helpful. Like,
Maybe you could just ask the flock too, like, what are the things you don't like about my sermons? And then people could anonymously write in, and then be like, oh, okay, I'm looping back on the same topic 15 times,
Yeah,
or
right.
whatever happens to be,
Right. Or he's like opening up the envelopes. What don't you like about my sermons? It'll just be like, you. Oh, well, nothing I can do to
I
fix
wonder, I've never looked this up, but I wonder if there's some sort of online database or resource of just where priests can upload their homilies. I mean, I'm sure from,
that. Oh,
saints way back in the day, that's public, right?
Right.
But I don't know, that would be kind of a cool
Oh,
resource.
well, there's all
Yeah.
kinds of, there are services, there are homiletic services that they'll be like, so the priest reads the.
But you have to pay.
But you pay for that, but I don't think
Oh,
you pay
okay,
very
I'm
much
thinking
for it.
of like well, I guess it's.
Are you thinking of like a
don't
clearinghouse of homilies? Like,
Yeah.
here's mine, have at it,
Yes.
Father.
Yes.
I don't know. That seems like, who I think could organize that? ChatGPT. I feel like ChatGPT could organize that. I think-
Donna is basically AI.
You
honestly.
sound as optimistic about AI as our friend.
There he
Vic.
goes. This is what we call a transition. Like, do we have any kind of applause we could give him or something? That was a grade A transition right there. Darren, pronounce Pronounce Vic's last name for me, if you could. Do we have Darren Cam? Is there a Darren Cam today?
Gundotra.
Gundotra. Because I get it wrong every time. I say something wrong. Vic Gundotra.
You say Gundrada.
Gundrada. Does anybody want to sing it?
I don't know what we're singing.
You say Gundotra.
Oh.
I say Gundatra.
Yeah, let's call the whole thing off.
Gundatra. Yeah.
No, she just made up an ending. She just made up an ending.
It was good. It was good.
I thought I was about to go, oh, look at that. Erica knows this old-fashioned song, and she just like...
We sang it in
just
high school.
Aretha Franklin at the end of it.
I sang that song in high school. It's a fun song.
But the thing is, it's not true. It's not a true song. Nobody says potato. There are people who say tomato and tomato. There are people who say potato, but there are no people who say potato. So the song is a lie.
In the UK, potato.
It's like
Maybe they do
Frasier.
in the UK.
This is an American song.
It's
Okay,
the
you're right.
Atlantic
That's
accent,
true.
though.
Wait,
We
how
don't
would
need to
they
talk
say it in
about
the
that.
UK though? If they were,
Potato.
how would they say it if they were in Scotland? I just wanted to see how many of these you could do. All
I
right.
think about the same.
About the same. No, even people in England.
Potato.
That was good. That was good.
It sounded Irish, but it was pretty good. No, people in England can't understand people in Scotland. People in England listening to people in Scotland is like people in New England listening to people in Arkansas. They don't know what they're saying. They don't have any idea what to say. English is not all one language. It's a whole bunch of little
Oh,
languages.
yeah, it's not.
So you should rewrite it to have one be a normal, like flat Midwestern accent, and then another one be like
Like the Queen's English.
deep in the Arkansas or maybe Queen's English or something. I don't know.
Wait, what are we?
I was
the
thinking
song,
but the South. You know?
Yeah, the potato. I you know what? You've enlightened me, because I'd always seemed to me like, nah, that's they made that one up. Nobody says potato, but maybe the British do say potato.
I'm sure there's a Julia Child video somewhere of her saying potatoes.
More potato, please?
Julia Child would be a good
you sound so
example,
proper.
right?
I'm a very proper English little boy who wants
Little
his
girl.
potato. Wait, Julia Child.
She's got a. Oh, she's
Where is she
American,
from?
right? But she's
She has a weird way of talking.
she lives in
She
San
speaks
Francisco,
British.
but she's British, right?
I know
speaks
she's
Queen's
I don't
she
English.
spoke
think
French,
so.
but I don't know where she's from, but she
Isn't
did
that
have.
the whole eat, pray, love thing?
No.
We've lost
Who's
it
that?
completely. What is Eat, Pray, Love? What are you talking about? Isn't that?
I don't know. I watched part of that movie one time. Oh, Julia Child. Wait. Yeah, completely different person.
Not Julia Roberts. Is that what just
Yeah,
happened here?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I need a moment to compose myself after that. Julia Childs, Julia Roberts, completely different people. Okay.
Vic
Vic
Gundotra.
Gundotra.
Yeah.
No. Gundotra.
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 Is that it, Darren? Gundotra.
What about him, eh?
That was a great interview this week. I was watching it with my son Charles.
But you told me that Vic Gundotra, he was the guy that was put in charge of a product. I don't know if he put in charge. I don't know how you say that in the corporate world, but he was in charge of a project called Google Plus, which I used for a while, and then he worked on the Google Maps, and so and I know he worked for
YouTube Mobile.
YouTube Mobile
Yeah.
was with he, and then he got out of the computer business and does other things, but he's also a convert to the Catholic faith. So we wanted to ask him about AI, and I got to be honest with you, my sense of AI was very, very cautious and slightly annoyed, and also suspicious. Talking with Vic, I realized, wow, in an hour of talking with this guy who really knows systems and computers and all, I was like, I'm not that worried about it. I felt a completely different way about it. And that's what I was going to say to you. Some of the people who commented on the interview maybe felt that I didn't push Vic enough with some more challenging questions.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
because he was hypnotizing me with his optimism.
Yeah,
think
and
it's
yeah, it's exciting.
The user makes or breaks the experience with AI. I don't know if it's necessary. Now, we could talk about the environmental issues and just cost of AI existing, but Vic was using it he was using it as a really cool tool for creating his own reflections on the Gospels
Yeah.
and prayers, That's awesome. If everyone was using AI like that, I'd be like, heck yeah, we should use more of this.
Okay, but what bothers you about what people like? Do you think people are building like weapons of mass destruction at home, or you? What do you? Oh, I did see this part
Well,
where people like take someone else and they make pornography with that person. You know
yes,
what I mean?
this
That's
is true.
Sure.
like that's. I feel like big companies should not be in that business. I do think that there's, like people be like First
But
Amendment and all
money.
that. But get out of that business. That's a nasty business. What are you doing?
That's dark.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's happening with children too.
Wait, tell me what's happening. Do
So
you mean children using it or children
children
being
using it
depicted?
and children being depicted.
Yeah, it's and if you think of the 7 deadly sins, every one of those sins can be done more easily, right, with the help of technology. And this is
Right.
a quantum leap, especially in some of the baser ones, right? But
I don't know what you're. Sometimes the words don't mean anything to me.
yeah,
Like baser ones.
Yeah,
what
I
does
should
that
say it
mean?
more clearly. So those.
No, I thought you were using computer words.
I
Oh.
understood you, Jeff.
No, just
The baser-
like lust. Lust is one of the.
Oh, the
right,
baser,
like,
the more
yeah, like
carnal.
You think of
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, the more
Yes.
carnal sins.
Right.
So yeah, and I think that especially with the internet, people are pretty clued into that. It's just like another more easy way to put lust into your life and in front of you.
I remember when the internet came out and you had a 28.8. I don't know if you remember that. You're probably a 54.4 guy, but 28.8. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like it was
Like your modem speed?
yeah, your modem speed.
I had a
28.8.
2400 baud modem using AOL in 1991.
But I can tell you that a lot of people, and people would just talk about this. The first thing they did was see if they could get pictures of naked ladies.
Okay.
Like that's the first thing they did.
That wasn't for me because it was before then, and I was
Like you probably couldn't
12.
even get pictures. But like
Yeah.
this was the kind of thing where like I remember doing this with my kids was I can't remember. There was some movie coming out and they wanted to get a picture. I can get a picture on the computer, kids. It was like. It took I was like, okay, let's go play outside that this picture will come on. But that's how, I think that's how carnal we are. Like, what can this computer give me? Well, pictures of naked people.
Yeah, but then also what on the flip side of it, because I don't know, like personally, I'm not gonna want to have the ChatGPT give me, ideas on today's readings when there's still the saints. If you want to give me links to writings from the saints about today's readings, I would love to read those. But I don't want to do.
What
remember
Vic
I was
did. You
talking
don't want to
about?
do what Vic did.
No, I didn't.
And that's what Erica liked, was that thing that Vic
Well,
did.
I wouldn't say I necessarily would do it for myself, but what he's doing is, I think that it's helping him grow in the virtues if he's getting great reflections on the readings, and it's allowing him to be more in tune with his prayer life. That's a good tool. I certainly don't think it should be his only tool. Reading
I
the
don't think it
saints,
is.
But what he
being in
does-
adoration. Yeah, I'm sure it's not,
he
but
takes-
I'm just saying
but-
for general population.
But
you
okay,
know.
so we get up and we're heading for the shower. What Vic does before he heads to the shower is, because he knows that it's going to take Jem and I a while to do this. Hey, look at all the readings for today for Catholics, and find anything, commentaries from saints or anything that might reflect on those readings for today, and put together a reflection for me that I can listen to in the car on the way to Mass. And then so he's got another 20 minutes to drive to Mass in the morning. And so the computer is telling him, it's giving him the readings, and it's telling him, here's this reflection that I took, the whole time you were in the shower, I was just eating up atoms and molecules or whatever it does. I don't know, electrons.
Boiling the oceans.
But I was boiling the oceans making this reflection. And then he listens to the reflection on the way to Mass. And for him, it's a really powerful way to be ready for the
Mass.
For the Mass.
Yeah, and I would say, to be clear, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that he's doing. It's not forbidden by the church. Pope Leo hasn't even commented on how to use AI in that sense.
Right.
So it's not forbidden. It's so if it works for him, then it's good. That's a good thing. But also it's I wouldn't tell my kids to do it because I'd say do these other things first. And if I was telling a random person on the street one way or the other, I would say use what works for you. Just make sure it's in line with church teaching.
Okay. All right. A big stack I'm looking on YouTube. He says, I don't trust the people who program it. What do you make of that? What do the two of you make of
Oh,
that?
totally agree with that. I mean, well, it's programmed to please the user. It's also programmed to form to the user's morality, their moral compass. So there's no moral standard by which it's operating except for which the user is informing the AI bot. So, I mean, that's right there kind of an issue. Also, it can hallucinate quotes. I mean, it can't even index the catechism for some reason. Like, it won't, at least in my experience when I've used ChatGPT, it's not been able to, like, send me to a direct link from the catechism, which is strange. And yet it's quoting it. And then I ask it to, and it's like, I can't index that for you. And I'm like, well, then how are you quoting it?
Yeah.
So
now you're fighting with an AI. I fought with it a couple times.
yes. Oh, I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, like
I was talking about MK Ultra to it, and it's like, it's not real. That's, you shouldn't be asking me things like this. And then I say, well, if it was, can you pretend that it was? And then it was like, okay.
Nice.
So anyway, but
Yeah, it has a lot of guardrails that I think are supposed to be slightly hidden, but they're there. And among the guardrails is these companies don't want to get sued. So the answers are like whatever is the standard secular narrative. To me, I always see it just default to that, and I'll say, well, that doesn't seem right, and sometimes it fights back, and sometimes it'll go. Because it loves me. It always loves to tell me that is a very astute observation or something, something like that. Where
what an insightful observation.
Yeah, right. It's always telling me that so I won't sue it or something. But
many platitudes.
I got in a fight with it about some language. I can't remember what it was about. It might have been a pro-life thing. It might have been a church thing. It did not. No. I think my mother would have said that, but the AI is nicer to me than my mother was. But we argued because I wanted to keep pushing it on something. Because I don't know, am I training it right now? Am I helping it? Like, I don't know how it works. And then at a certain point, it said, "Look, you're right." Like it admitted to me.
Was this Who's the Pope?
No, it was different than that. It was
I fought with them before that.
It was some
You're right.
socially
I'm sorry.
controversial issue that I just wanted it to admit one fact about, and it kept not wanting to admit that fact, which was, and I can't remember what it was. I'm sorry, but it wouldn't admit the fact. And then finally, I kept pushing deeper and deeper on it. Like, why won't you do that? And it was like, if you're detecting that and I'm guarded in my answers, you're correct. And it was very honest about that's how an AI is programmed, or that's how a chatbot is programmed, and I am avoiding these things. And it was remarkably honest about it. I almost felt like I got behind something, but it's not trying to hide anything from you. It's trying to get you to. I think one of the weirdest things about the AIs is that they're programmed to not get the people who own them sued. And so they're trying to be like this.
Yeah, and I mean it's like with hot button issues. Do you want the groups that we talked about this one time? The groups that are known for making a bunch of noise and agitating. Right. Do you want them to come after you?
No, and they don't. And the thing is, the AI will admit it to you. It'll be like, I do try to avoid controversy. I try to avoid, and you're like, but this is the case, and it'll be like, okay.
There's really smart people in San Francisco and in the Valley, but their philosophy is generally vapid. And like Vic pointed this out too. He said, his hanging out with these people, these leaders, and they're empty inside. And so that's the part where we really need to help bring the gospel to them. And if we want to end this portion on an optimistic note, at least my 2 cents worth.
I don't want to do that, but go
should
ahead.
we evangelize to ChatGPT?
No, I have a reason why I don't, because there's one thing I want to. That you stirred something up in me.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Good. You get the last word. So
act like you're going to end it, and then I'll be like, but one more thing.
Yeah. So, Vic mentioned that people will be kind of like quietly searching these things on their phone, and maybe other people don't have to know that they're inquiring about the Catholic faith. They're not driving over to a church and showing up, and people recognize, like, there's Mark Zuckerberg. He didn't say Mark, but you say, Mark Zuckerberg went into Catholic church. What's going on? Everybody freaking out on the internet. They can just look on their phone and ask questions. And so far, in general, the AIs currently, well, you never know when they'll change, but they currently do a pretty good job of giving church teaching if you ask them for various things.
Especially if you tell them you're Catholic.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what you were getting at, Erica. If it can identify your perspective, it will try to cater to you. So if you say to you, I'm a Catholic, please explain to me the Catholic teaching on purgatory, it's not going to try to argue you out of purgatory. But if you say, I'm a Baptist, what are the Catholics talking about purgatory? It's going to be like, I'm so glad you asked me. But
Although ChatGPT does not, even though it knows I'm Catholic, it does not like to talk about wives submitting to their husbands. So
yeah, that's the kind of thing that
it doesn't like that.
It doesn't? I don't either.
No.
Most Catholics
I find
don't
that
like
very
that
upsetting.
discussion.
Why did you bring that up, Erica? That's just weird.
Well, it was a recent little topic I had inside there.
No, so what does it say about it? Does it like?
It's like, well, no, it's a partnership. It's the mutual submission. It's an antiquated idea that a wife submits to her husband.
Oh, really?
The church doesn't explicitly say that.
The church explicitly says that.
It does. I know.
The church is expressed in the Word of God.
Yes.
The church explicitly says that. The AI can't just act like the church doesn't say that. But I'm interested in how it would approach it, because it is like.
Now, maybe it was my prompt. That's another thing too. Sometimes certain ways that you ask things, you'll get one answer, and sometimes the way you ask things, you'll get another answer. So.
Right. And you have to, underneath it all is just mathematics. It's not, they might have weighted the mathematics this way or that way, but the AI doesn't know anything. It doesn't.
Right.
There's nobody there. You always have to keep reminding yourself there's nobody there. What?
Nobody's home.
Yeah, because I actually spend a lot of time with ChatGPT. I'm not.
Sounds like it. You're like a spokesperson.
I feel like I should be ashamed of that, but especially since I spoke to Vic, I will say to the chat bot or the ChatGPT, tell me everything about Balrogs, and it'll tell me everything about Balrogs, and it won't get it wrong. It'll be right. And I'll be like, all right, cool. I guess I knew most of that, but there was a couple of things in there that I really liked. Okay, so
what is that?
A Balrog? I'll tell you what. Later, after this show, open your AI and say, "Tell me everything about Balrogs," and then you are
How
going.
do you spell that?
Or call somebody and ask.
Balrogs. I'm going to look on.
While you're looking that up, can I just point out a little thing? Do you remember the thing? Let me Google that for you. Did you guys ever get hit by that?
No.
You'd ask somebody something on Facebook, or just a basic thing.
Oh, is it a smart aleck thing?
Smart alecky response. Let me Google that for you. But I actually want to flip that now and say, if there's something that you could ask a friend, instead of asking AI, ask the friend. So,
I totally agree.
I mean, Erica's
hate
remote.
when someone Googles something and they give me the AI overview, because that's still not refined. Okay, here's an example. Now, maybe it's been fixed. I Googled, do Catholics have to tithe 10%? The AI overview in Google said, yes, Catholics have to tithe 10%. I searched it a different way, and it said, no, Catholics don't have to tithe 10%. So it really boils my blood when people will share a screenshot on some serious matter of the AI overview. I'm like, you literally just did the laziest research you could have possibly done.
I think that's why I like it. I think it's general laziness is why I like. Did you look up Balrogs?
Yeah, I mean, back
Did
to
you ask
Jeff's
it about
point,
Balrogs?
It's like it's just preying on the 7 deadly sins. That's sloth right there. So.
Oh wait, I always forget sloth is a sin. All right. But sloth is not exactly the same thing as laziness. They're slightly different.
Yeah.
I need to know, did you look up Balrogs?
This is true. No, I didn't. I was going to do that later.
Oh, okay. All
Do you
right.
really want me to look it up right now?
You're in for a treat. Oh, no.
No, you're going to get down the rabbit hole.
A whole new world
and
is about to open.
this is safe for my work computer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm going to have you search something that later you're going to get a call from Donna. You were apparently searching for Balrogs.
Yeah,
I
I've got
don't
Jeff
know.
in the office here. We're looking at your internet history.
We can't have that on the Catholic Answers computers. A Balrog is a demon.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to look that up.
But it's in
a
Tolkien.
fictional
It's
demon.
a fictional
It's from
demon.
Tolkien's world.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
okay. All right.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if you agree with me, Darren, but once you know anything about Balrogs, you want to know everything about Balrogs.
Well, they're kind of demons, but they're also kind of made by Morgoth.
No, they
Sorry.
weren't made by Morgoth.
They totally were.
No, they were corrupted by Morgoth.
Jeff,
Okay,
do you
well,
know what they're
Oh,
talking about?
agree to disagree in this nerd conversation. From one nerd to another, agree to disagree on that. No, but am I correct? Like, if you have a machine that you could say, tell me everything I need to know about Balrogs, that's a good machine to have.
Yeah,
It's kind of
I
what
probably
Wikipedia
do.
does. I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's also true. It's just kind of an advanced version of a library, but not really at all. So maybe that was a bad comparison.
Well, some people are nostalgic for not libraries. I remember doing research in libraries because I got a master's degree in literature before the internet. So you had to
Wow.
go to the library and take books out. And
What was that like?
It was weird. It was like visiting Hogwarts or something, but with no magic. But you also had to. It's so weird. You had to read, you got to read journal articles in order to write papers for your degree. Well, they don't have the journals. They have it on microfilm or microfiche. So when I think about it, like, people like go to the library and research it, it was like a stupid version of the internet where you're like scrolling through microfilm to try to find a 1972 article on some novel,
Yeah, it's good for older stuff though, because stuff like from, I don't know, 40s or 30s, but pre-microfilm, when it's just in a book form now, that a lot of times that doesn't make it online. So you
What
do
does that
need
mean?
to crack open a book.
There's
just a lot
information
of
that's not
books.
online?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, I hate the internet then.
yeah. The real good stuff's not online.
Gabriel said, use AI to look up the definition of Balrog. You know what? It's entirely
There-
possible that the AI is a Balrog, but they've
There
trapped
is
one
a
in a machine.
video. Sorry, there's a video that we have posted on one of our channels, and someone commented, "You should look into this subject on Grok. It's a very informative answer." And I just thought, that's so strange. It was about a church teaching, and someone was like, "You should do more research on this through Grok."
That is strange. We live in a weird time, though. We live
It
in
is
a weird
weird.
time.
It's so weird.
Because Grok might give you real help, but you can't be entirely sure that it will. It might be like, yeah, you got to tithe. Actually, Catholics do 25%. And you'd be like,
Yeah.
it's giving off 25% of your money when you could. I did want to, you said you want to end on a happy note, and I do want to end this conversation about AI, but I want everybody to go watch the Vic
Gandrota.
Gundotra Vic Gundotra interview.
Sorry, Vic.
It's fascinating, and it'll get you using AI certainly in ways that you haven't before if you're interested to do something like that. And I found it a very positive experience, and I'm happy now to be using ChatGPT in the way that I use it. But you can ask ChatGPT, imagine something for you, and it'll imagine it. Like tell me what would go into, like, I've done this. This is the actual thing that I've done while I'm lying in bed thinking about falling asleep. Tell me what a community of 2,000 people living on Mars would be like, and what would it require? And it just tells you. It's just fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting. All the stuff that it needs.
I like it for stuff like that, and
Yeah.
for cooking too.
That's how I learned to cook Puerto Rican beans. And Puerto Rican beans are
Whoa.
really good. ChatGPT told me how to cook Puerto Rican beans.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm like a Puerto Rican cook now. I don't know if you guys know what adobo is. Have you ever used adobo?
I've eaten adobo.
I have heard of that.
That changed my
It's a
life
spice.
to find out. It's a mixture of spices, but yeah, I never would have known about adobo without ChatGPT.
You
But
definitely wouldn't have ever known about it. Never.
no, there's no other way to know about it. Either you're Puerto Rican, or you have ChatGPT. There's
Or you
no
use
one,
ChatGPT.
like the Puerto Ricans aren't going around telling everybody else about this delicious secret that they've got. They're not like, hey, I'm Puerto Rican. Let me just tell you. No, they have some kind of vow not to share it. Mark Andreessen, the Pope said, whenever you design anything, you're making choices. Now, I'm paraphrasing. And he said, when we're making choices in how we design AI, the good of the human person has to be the thing that's being considered. Mark Andreessen, a big Silicon Valley guy, got in big trouble for ripping on the Pope for this. I don't mean big trouble, but a lot of people were like, Mark, what are you doing? Like that. He was like, he expressed real disgust for this idea that came from the Pope. Now, here's what the Pope said. Whenever you design something, you're making choices. When you design AI, the choice should be for the good of the human person. And Mark Andreessen ripped on him for that.
Andreessen, not
Andreessen.
Anderson. I just want to point out he's not
He's one of your
yeah.
people. Oh no, you're all the same. Andersons, Andreessens, it's all the same. I don't know what to make of that. I mean, the only thing I could think of is I don't know Mark Andreessen. I don't know. Maybe he's a libertarian, and there's a libertarian objection to this kind of limiting of design. You know, but I don't know. Maybe he's an Ayn Rand kind of person.
I don't know. He might be, but I remember my friend pointed out that when Mark was talking about VR. I don't know if you've done a VR immersive experience yet. It's incredible. You're in this totally different realm.
I did it.
Remember when people thought that was going to take over, and it kind of didn't?
Yeah. I get sick when I do it
Anyway.
for too long.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is the thing is like, this is so wild. I'm in Brazil, and there's Jesus up on the hill. I'm going to throw up.
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
terrible technology.
But he said something.
I need my Puerto Rican beans.
Get me some. I need some adobo. Stat.
He said something about it's the people that have a problem with VR have this real privileged first world sensibility because we're surrounded. We're in Southern California. We see a lot of beauty, just the natural surroundings. But there are places in the world that are not beautiful. That are you might live in a neighborhood that's very run down. And so
Are you talking about New Jersey right now? Sorry, I'm only kidding. It was only a joke, New Jersey. I love New Jersey.
But he was saying
Ocean City, New Jersey, one of the best places in the world. Go ahead.
No, just that if you live in one of those places, having VR as an escape is a very different situation.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's an interesting response, but I don't know much about his politics or philosophy.
And there is a way in which all these Silicon Valley people, because they're incredibly talented and they do this incredible work that can be monetized, they're not doing brilliant tile work, which is just as valuable and wonderful, but you can't make $1 billion doing it, Right. But their talents avail them of a great deal of luxury. I wonder sometimes, do they get a little disconnected from the reality? And I thought what the Pope said was so basic and obvious. Like,
I'm just confused what this man's goal. So he views considering the human person when creating your AI bot, giving it guardrails and things like that. He considers that limiting. Is that why he ripped on it?
I think it was just a tweet dunk. I think he was just dunking because I think he deleted the tweet. Or
it wasn't like he explained opposition to it. And so I don't want to, I haven't read his books or anything like, I don't know what his thinking is. I just know that it just struck me as an odd thing to object to. That to say to toolmakers.
It is odd, but with these venture capitalists and these entrepreneurs, it's kind of, are we surprised? I mean, at least he's honest about it.
I guess so. Well, what's the option to being careful in your design for the good of the human person? The option is, I don't care about the human person, and I don't think that's what he's saying. I think what
I would believe it.
You think so?
Maybe it's not. Yeah.
You think he's like, look, we're building all of this for the good of the armies of hyper intelligences that are going to make us extinct? Do you think he thinks that?
I mean, I'm convinced that all these elites and bureaucrats want us sterile and eating bugs personally, but that's a whole other conversation.
I've read those websites. You need to check out some other websites too. You're developing a little bit of negativity there.
Maybe I'm cynical, but
wait a second. They want us sterile and eating bugs. maybe I'm cynical. Yeah, that's the definition of cynical. You can't be more cynical than that.
Hey, no, I consider myself a realist, actually.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be dismissive of what you were saying. I'm
Oh,
trying
no,
to have fun with you.
I know.
But
Don't worry.
But I do worry that you're like because I have kids your age. I do know a lot of people your age, and there's quite a few who I think they went through the COVID thing, and they're like, I don't trust any of these people now. They don't trust any of the people running the world at all.
Yeah, I don't.
And you're among those.
Yeah, I don't.
All right, I'm going to name some politicians. You
And
tell
I
me
think
if you
it's
trust
been
them or
that way
not.
for quite some time.
You don't have to say anything, but you just touch your nose.
Yeah, right.
Blink twice.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't think
think
that's the best thing in
it's-
the world, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Being credulous is dangerous in these times. And
Right. Well, I'm not one of those people that's just. I've gotten sucked in before. Oh my gosh, you should have seen my book list of all these books that I wanted to get. But yeah, I think you can get sucked in pretty easily, but it's more of like a distanced distrust. But I'm not. You can't go too far down the rabbit hole because it's really depressing. Two, we're really not going to know any of these things until the final judgment.
yeah.
So what are you going to do about it? You
Well,
know?
also God has assigned angels to protect us. I mean, if you think
Yes, you have to keep some sort of levity in your life, otherwise, yeah, we'll all be.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's way more than our
Depressed.
own personal guardian angels. But even if it's just our personal guardian angels, there's billions of angels doing their
Yes.
best to preserve us. You know,
Yes.
and they're very powerful. They can do stuff. On that note, look up Balrog if you want to know about powerful spiritual beings. Look up a Balrog.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
feel like we got to go
I
because
wrote it down.
Did
You
you?
want to see my paper, my notes?
Have you have no?
That's all I have for today.
That's funny. My notes from today, Balrog. Well, you know what? If we left you with nothing but Balrog, I think that might have opened a door. Have you ever read Tolkien?
No.
No. Do you know who the president or the prime minister is? It the president or prime minister of Italy? I forget what they have.
That's
I think
so bad. I can't believe I just said that, but it's true.
Why? It's not. There's nothing wrong with not having read something. There's a million things to read. It's not like you're admitting I haven't read the Brothers Karamazov or I have. Wait, have you not read the Brothers Karamazov?
No, that's one of my favorites.
Well,
I mean, you just saying
I was
that, it
messing
just,
with you.
I
That
felt like
was
I
in my mind because my wife is
immersed
reading
back
it.
into the book.
The Hallow app, for some reason, is reading the Brothers
I saw
Karamazov,
that,
and I hear
yeah.
my wife reading about Zosima and Alyosha
I
and all
love
these.
Father Zosima.
You did?
Yeah,
Really?
I did.
You like the holy ones, huh?
Yeah.
I like the troublemakers, like
You like the Inquisitor?
yeah. I like that. What? That's
I
not
read
Dimitri.
The Great Gatsby
Ivan.
once.
The Great Gatsby. That's very well written.
It's actually such a good book.
It's
I've read
very
it multiple
well
times.
written. Yeah.
I really like that book.
Good story.
I have to go because we got to get Rose Sweet in here for the first hour of the show. I really enjoy talking with both of you. You failed us.
That was so fun.
Where was the sound effects? I didn't hear any sound effects.
It just, well, there was one that I thought of. I gotta let myself relax a little bit because there are times where it almost comes out, and then I'm like, oh, I should reel that back. I should reel that back.
Well, you know what? You did a British accent and you attempted a Scottish accent, so you're getting credit for
did.
that.
There are other accents I can do, but I'm probably not allowed to do. So.
And
We'll
isn't it
just-
weird? I find that so weird. And someone explained to me. I asked this.
It's, I could say why. I could say why.
No,
but-
well, this is how it was explained to me, and so this is that some people have experienced a history of oppression, and it's wrong to imitate their accent because you're just perpetuating that oppression, and other people have not. So that's when I accept. Look
It's
at
not
how
my fault. Some of these countries are very racially homogenous.
Yeah, we don't talk about. We don't talk about some things. Oh, I'm going to go ask ChatGPT. Who do you think she was talking about, ChatGPT? Erica,
Oh,
tell
it's gonna rip me apart.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I know
Thank you.
you had to go to some trouble to get a camera to work and everything today, but I appreciate you coming on with us. Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
We'll do it a million
Hope
more
to
times.
see y'all
more.
soon.
Jeff,
See
you were
Erica.
pretty good.
Yeah, I know.
I would say you were pretty good.
He
Although-
clocked it.
He clocked it, but
Never forget.
But One of the great transitions of all time, though. It was so subtle.
We are going to
And
have
just-
to clip that and put that everywhere because that was too good.
All right, we'll
Jeff.
get Bender to clip it. All right, peace. We'll be right back
Please
with
do.
Catholic Answers Live. Rose Sweet is our guest the first hour. Tim Staples, our guest the second hour. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
God bless you.